Namaste, welcome once more to the Skillful Living program. Today I want to go back to a book I have talked about in earlier videos as well. This is The Four Agreements. You may remember this book by Don Miguel Ruiz. So we've talked about two of these agreements. I want to talk about a third one. In the book, it's actually the second agreement. And just a quick reminder that Don Miguel draws upon Toltec Wisdom, a tradition from Central America. And the agreements, the four agreements, are agreements we make with ourselves, not with anyone else, but with ourselves, to help us to live well and to live at peace with ourselves and with our world. So the second agreement, which I want to talk about today, is don't take anything personally. So let's look at what this means. Let's take the example of someone who says something to you about yourself. So how do you not take it personally? The other person is making it personal. They're saying maybe something unflattering about you, something disparaging. How do you then not take it personally? The first question you have to ask yourself is, do you believe what this person is saying? Just because somebody says something, is it necessarily true? It may or may not be true to them. Sometimes people do speak untruths, either deliberately or unknowingly, because they believe something that's not true, or it could be deliberate because they have some agenda or they want to put you down in some way. So do you need to believe this? If somebody says to me that I'm a really bad healer, for example, because I'm a Reiki healer, as you might know by now, do I have to believe it? Does it become true just because someone said it to me? That's the first question we need to ask ourselves. And I would definitely say, no, that's not my truth. I don't believe that. I don't believe it to be true. The second question I need to ask myself is, whether it's true or not, do I need to take this comment personally? Do I need to react in anger or with hurt, or do I need to get upset because somebody said something negative to me about myself? Or can I just say, well, that's your opinion. It isn't mine, or it's not necessarily mine, and just leave it at that. This is about taking things personally or not taking them personally. So let's say somebody, as I said, let's take that example. Someone says to me that you're a bad healer, but I know that I help a lot of people through my Reiki healing. I know that I get good positive feedback from many of my clients. So this is not my truth at all. I don't need to believe it. Now, the second question of whether or not I take it personally. Why is this person going out of their way to be rude to me, or to hurt me, or to put me down in some way? Well, most likely the reason lies with them and not with me. It's not about me at all in most cases. It's about their own life. They may be going through something at the moment which makes them short-tempered or makes them negative, makes them feel like they need to lash out at someone. Maybe they're having a really bad time and they need to vent their feelings in this way. So I don't need to take that personally. I don't need to bother with that at all. Or it could be that they really believe that I'm a poor healer or a bad healer because they're coming from a certain conditioning as well. So let's say, for example, their conditioning tells them that only a medically trained person, a doctor, can be a healer. Well, that's fine. That's their opinion. It isn't mine. And I still don't have to take it personally. I need to understand that they're coming from a certain conditioning, a certain view of the world, which affects their opinions. But their opinions are not necessarily mine. Why do we then sometimes just believe whatever somebody says to us? Maybe especially something negative, something that makes us feel bad about ourselves. One reason can be that there is a hook in me as the receiver of this comment. If I already believe what the other person is saying, or I suspect that it may be true. So in the same example, if I'm not confident about my own healing or about my own abilities, then I might think, okay, I already thought this might be true and now somebody is saying it, so it must be true. So Don Miguel tells us to find our own truth and don't accept other people's truths out of insecurity or fear or out of your own negative conditioning in some way. This brings me to another point. So far we've been talking about what others say to us. But what about what we say to ourselves? Most of us do talk to ourselves. So the way Don Miguel puts it is that the mind talks to itself. The mind is not always one unified mind. There may be different parts to your mind. This is something that in psychology, in counseling, we refer to as self-talk. And many people have heard something usually negative about themselves. Either as children, they've heard it very often, or they've heard it from significant adults in their lives, and they take it on board. They start to believe it, and these become what are then called our self-limiting beliefs. So some people believe they're never good enough for anything. Some people believe they are not capable of managing money or of earning money. These are self-limiting beliefs. If you have this kind of self-talk, it may not be this example, it may be other examples, but something that's holding you back in life, or that's getting in the way of your peace of mind and your happiness, then please examine these self-limiting beliefs, this self-talk. Is it really true? Or are you just repeating something that you've heard, perhaps as a child? So this is another aspect of this agreement that we make with ourselves, to not take things personally. This is an aspect of that as well. And if we stop taking things personally, life becomes easy, life becomes free, because you don't have to be upset or put down by everything everybody is saying to you. You find your own truth. You learn to know yourself. I would say put your energies into that rather than just believing or taking personally what other people say to you. There's another aspect of this. So far we've talked about negative things that people say to you. What about positives? If someone tells me that I'm a perfect healer, I don't need to make any effort anymore, it happens effortlessly. I don't need to learn anymore, I don't need to learn anything in life. Should I believe that? Or would that be limiting myself in another way by not learning anymore, giving up my own learning? And why would somebody say this? Maybe they really believe it, or maybe they're trying to flatter me for some reason. Maybe they want something out of me. It doesn't really matter. I don't have to think about their reasons, because their reasons are their reasons. But again, I should know myself, and I should know whether or not I need to learn more, or I need to put in more effort into whatever it is that I'm doing, and not go by other people's opinions. So that's it in a nutshell. Just one other thing. How do we know when we are taking things personally? Quite often you will find yourself reacting either with hurt or in anger, or you will find yourself arguing endlessly with another person. So you are now trying to impose your truth on them. That's not needed. All that is needed is that you hold on to your own truth and not take on other people's truths. I think that's enough, and that can help us to live freely and with peace of mind. So that's all for today. Thank you. Namaste. See you next week.